Will we see an eruption of Mount Teide in Spain, in Tenerife? Because we have another large earthquake swarm going on with magnitudes up to 3.3. This is high for a volcano. And we have increased emissions. So what is going on? Everything you need to know in this video. Guys, there's something going on. Tenerife in Spain, Canary Island. We're talking about Pico del Teide. It's located on Tenerife, and it's not only the highest mountain in Spain, the symbol of Tenerife Island, but it's also the highest volcano in Europe. And it's again now the focus of scientific attention. Has already been in February, as more than 160 microquakes have been recorded in the area since May of this year. And just today, we had a 1.8 underneath the volcano, 20 kilometers deep beneath the southwest flank of Pico del Teide. What are these tremors doing there? Where are they coming from? Such tremors, guys, we have to be aware of this. And if you watch my channel on a regular basis, you know this. They are typical of magma rising from the upper mantle into the Earth's crust. Then you see earthquakes like this. And by the way, we had another magnitude 2.7 earthquake that occurred east of Gran Canaria, also at great depth. Another Canary Island. The Canary Islands, beautiful, quick flight from Europe. You're on vacation mode, lots of hotels. I've been there multiple times. Nice place, nice weather, but volcanoes. So is Spain's highest volcano about to erupt when we see this earthquake swarm underneath the volcano? The researchers are observing, on the one hand, this increased seismicity, but also gas emissions. And that rings a little bit the alert bells, because both together, that's an indication that something's happening at a volcano. So is an eruption imminent? That's the question. You know, the Canary Island and volcanism, they're linked, they're tied together. There's submarine volcanic eruptions that have formed the archipelago in the Atlantic millions of years ago. So their origin, volcanoes. Cooled lava still characterizes the rugged landscape on these islands. We have steep volcanic cones that still rise from this landscape, that's like a lunar-like landscape. This is how it looks when you drive through certain areas of the islands. And some of these volcanoes still simmer beneath. We remember Cumbre Vieja on La Palma spewed lava and ash for full 85 days between September and December in 2021, not long ago. It has destroyed 3,000 buildings and has forced 7,000 people to flee. And so researchers are now anxiously awaiting the arrival of Pico del Teide on Tenerife. This is a very high stratovolcano. It's 3,715 meter high. That's why it is Spain's tallest mountain. It has last erupted in 1909, so quite a while ago. And it's currently being shaken again on a quite regular basis by these earthquake swarms. So first we had something going on January 22nd. The earth was shaking at a depth of 13 kilometers near Villaflor. That's a town basically settled at the foot of Mount Teide. We've seen earthquakes of magnitudes between 0.6 and 1.5. You will say that's not high, but for a volcano, that's an indication. If magma's rising to the top, it needs to grind a tunnel like a miner, and that's rumbling. Then February, further quakes above magnitude 1 have occurred February 3rd, February 5th, this time near the volcano's summit. So in light of the recent earthquakes, the Scientific Committee for the Evaluation and Monitoring of Volcanic Phenomena on the Canary Islands, that was long CCES, they have met at the end of January. And they subsequently reported in a statement that was released from the Canary Islands regional government that the Teide volcano is exhibiting, quote, geophysical activity characterized by increased seismicity, geodetic deformations, and gas emission. Earthquakes, deformation, gas emission. Oopsie. So key indicators such as seismic swarms, ground deformations, and fluctuations in gas emissions indicate, according to the committee, and we already know that, a growing pressure increase in the hydrothermal system beneath that stratovolcano. The conclusion that researchers are drawing, they are relatively certain that Mount Teide will wake up and erupt one day. The only question is when. So some scientists think there might not be an imminent threat, but if they look at the clusters in the last 3 months, large visible clusters, and they said that before the current earthquake swarm, they say these large, clearly visible clusters emerge from the Teide region, basically between Tenerife and Gran Canaria. So because it's rumbling in this area, we also have the possibility of, how they call it, submarine volcanism underneath the water. So the earthquakes that we're seeing at Teide, they're not completely, entirely unusual. You know, if there's the accumulation of layers of lava and ash that built this volcano, it's not stable, compacted rock. Subsidence repeatedly creates internal tensions, and these are released by smaller earthquakes as gas rises through this volcanic complex. But they usually occur at depth of more than 10 kilometers. So when earthquakes occur at greater depth, magma movements are more likely. That's the problem that we're seeing here. And the other problem is, each earthquake that is happening there right now could create a new ascent route for the magma, making the rocks brittle, making them more prone to be infiltrated. Magma is always taking the way of least resistant. So if we will see earthquakes in the higher 2 or even above magnitude 3 range, and the hypocenter is located at deeper ranges, the scientists say prepare for an eruption. So most of the tremors that we're seeing right now, and the thing is, I've been talking about January and February, but again, since May, basically within the last 6 to 7 weeks, we've seen over 170 microquakes. Most of these tremors have occurred at depths between 5 and 15 kilometers, low magnitudes between 0.5 but going up to 2.1. Although they were not felt by the population, the frequency and the concentration of the tremors, that's what has drawn attention of geoscientists. They're looking at that volcano right now with a little bit of concern. But in addition to these seismic swarms, we see it's slight, but it's there. The ground deformations. And the only good thing is we do not see increased sulfur dioxide emissions right now. Also, we do not see increased gas temperatures. But, here comes the but again. Pico del Teide has been emitting large amounts of carbon dioxide for months, for a very, very long time. So this is magmatic gas, guys. This is magmatic gas that's the first to reach the Earth's surface. And it comes from magma. And where is this magma coming from? It's accumulating deep beneath the volcano. And then once the pressure from this magma accumulation exceeds a critical value and the quantity of magma is large enough, the magma can rise, which could lead to an eruption. That was my update. We have to monitor that, guys. In the meantime, check out the video in the end screen. As there's an update from the catastrophic landslide in Switzerland in Blatten. They call it the catastrophe of the millennium. Has buried a whole village, and the mountain keeps coming down again. I'm showing you in this video pictures, videos where it's crushing again with a big dust cloud. This is absolutely crazy. And now they're trying to get the military on the lake. They call it Lake Blatten. For those of you who speak German, Blattensee. That's in one word. This is really, they call this a lake now, which is kind of sad because it used to be the village of Blatten. So they're flying in boats now with helicopters, and they're trying to do something very interesting. The reason why they're doing this is to avoid more trouble. So you should really watch this video. Stunning new pictures, update from Blatten. It's here in the end screen. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. If you want to support the channel, guys, if you want to buy me a coffee, it's greatly appreciated. Check the link in the description. Go to my Buy Me a Coffee site, leave me a message. I will answer with a 30-second video message so we can chat with each other. I think that's a great tool. You guys, it's hot in the summer in many areas. You stay safe. I just heard that in Canada and Toronto, they're closing down the public swimming pools because there's a heat wave coming. I don't know if that's such a great idea, but yeah, stay cool, stay safe, stay warm. In some places, there's snow in Alberta, in Montana, in Wyoming. So guys, wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying my videos, and I see you safe and sound in the next one that is here in the end screen. Click.